The HOA built 28 homes on my private island, the same island where my late wife's ashes are buried. Their smug president waved fake permits in my face, telling me I should be grateful they were improving my view. But they had no idea I was letting them build, because I wanted them to finish every last house. They erased my deed from county records, but not the one I kept locked in my safe. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment below, and hit subscribe if you believe no one should ever be bullied off their own land. The morning didn't start with birds, it started with hammers. A sharp, wrong sound echoing over the lake. For 40 years Haven Island had been silent except for bullfrogs and wind. My wife Ellen used to call it the quietest place on earth. I grabbed my binoculars. Men in hard hats were pounding stakes into my soil. A bulldozer sat near the shore, its claw caked with my mud. I took my old aluminum boat across the channel. The foreman, barely out of college, told me I was on HOA development property. Then she arrived. Carla Menden, HOA president. Queen of beige. Fake smile. Colder eyes. She told me the county sold my land because it was unmaintained. I told her I had my deed. She smirked. Take it up with the county. At the county office, the clerk typed my name with one lazy finger. Sorry, sir, old records were misplaced during a data migration. Misplaced, meaning destroyed. I showed 40 years of tax receipts. He shrugged. It's an HOA matter now. The newspaper didn't help. No one listened. And that night, under floodlights humming across the lake, I saw them tear up Ellen's garden. A pile driver hammered steel where her ashes were. Nobody was coming to help me. Not the county. Not the press. Not my neighbors. The rage cooled into something sharp. The engineer in me woke up. You don't yell at problems. You dismantle them. My old steel safe opened with a heavy metallic click. Inside was everything they couldn't erase. The original 1983 deed with the raised notary seal. A hand-drawn survey map proving the island was a separate parcel. 40 years of tax receipts, paper, ink history. I felt hope. Real hope. Then came the HOA's courtesy meeting invitation. A trap. The clubhouse was beige, soulless, and packed with neighbors who avoided my eyes. Carla stood at the podium like a queen. She spoke for 10 minutes about synergy and community modernization. When questions opened, I walked to the front, calm, and laid my 1983 deed on the podium. This land is mine. Carla didn't even look at it. Paperwork gets old, she said. We have the current records. When I mentioned Ellen, Carla laughed softly. Oh, that sentimental old sign? Don't worry, we'll replace it with cleaner standardized community signage. The rustic look is outdated. Outdated. She called my wife outdated. Not one neighbor defended me. The fight changed. And something inside me iced over. Walking out of that meeting, I finally saw it. Their entire megaproject depended on one narrow causeway. One road. One water line. One power line. One access point. You don't need to fight when the enemy builds their own choke point. Every day I watched. And documented. Before sunrise, I was in my boat with a long lens camera. I photographed every contractor, every company truck, every delivery, every license plate. Afternoons, I launched my drone and mapped the entire operation from 500 feet. My workshop became a command center, walls covered in satellite images, photos pinned with red yarn like a war room. And finally, a crack of hope. A county intern found a lost master plat survey from 1982, proving my island was never part of the mainland tract. The county never had the right to sell it. I filed the motion immediately. The HOA responded by burying me in legal paperwork designed to drain me financially. One Tuesday, asphalt trucks rolled across the causeway. They were paving over the place where the willow tree stood. Over Ellen's ashes. I raced across the channel, shouting. I don't even remember what I said. I only remember the feeling. This was the line they should never have crossed. I ran toward the workers, yelling, shaking, furious, and they froze. Not because of me, but because Carla Menden stepped out of her SUV, arms folded, smirk carved into her face like stone. "Mr. Dalton, this is becoming embarrassing," she said. "We have permits. We have approvals. And you've become disruptive." Disruptive. She used that word like I was a stray dog chewing on their cables. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just stared at the freshly laid asphalt covering the place where Ellen rested. Something inside me clicked. Quiet, final, irreversible. That day, I stopped fighting the HOA's project. Because that day, I finally had everything I needed. They had built the final piece of evidence with their own hands. 3 weeks later, the island was nearly complete. 28 homes, power lines connected, water pipes running, electrical systems tied perfectly into the Lakeview Shores grid. Everything flowing through that single narrow causeway. Every time a cement truck crossed it, I took pictures. Every time a contractor dug a trench, I filmed it. Every day, their violations stacked up higher. 0 environmental assessments. Wetland destruction. Unauthorized shoreline modification. Illegal wastewater routing. Endangered species habitat removal. And the biggest one. No legal claim to the land whatsoever. But they didn't know I had the 1982 Master Plat Survey. They didn't know I recorded every violation. They didn't know I had files prepared for the State Department of Environmental Quality, the Army Corps of Engineers, the State Attorney General, the Federal Wetlands Protection Bureau, the County Ethics Committee, and 3 investigative journalists. They didn't know I had already submitted everything. I just needed one more thing. To let them finish. Because once the homes were fully built, the fines would be catastrophic. The storm hit on a Friday. Not weather, paperwork. By noon, DQ officers were on their island. By 3 p.m., the Army Corps arrived. By sunset, the county sheriffs taped off the causeway. Carla's perfect world began cracking like glass. Contractors scrambled. Inspectors barked orders. Clipboards multiplied like angry bees. Carla spotted me watching from my porch. For the first time in her life. She wasn't smiling. 2 weeks later, we faced each other in court. Carla sat with her lawyers. 6 of them. All wearing the same expression as people who just realized they bet their mortgage on a losing horse. I placed 3 things on the evidence table. The 1983 original deed. The 1982 Master Plat Survey. A binder of 147 recorded HOA violations. The judge didn't take 10 minutes. Not even 5. He ruled. The land never belonged to the HOA. The sale was illegal. The construction was unauthorized. The HOA was liable for environmental destruction. All 28 homes were to be demolished. Full restoration of the land was required. And the HOA owed me damages. Millions in damages. Carla stood up yelling, screaming, pointing fingers at her lawyers, at county officials, at anyone she could blame. The judge banged his gavel once. "Mrs. Menden, sit down. You didn't just build illegally. You built on a dead woman's grave." The courtroom went silent. She sat. And for the first time, she looked small. The bulldozers that once tore up my land returned, but this time, under government orders. They tore down every HOA home. Every foundation. Every path. Every illegal pipe. Every wire. Piece by piece, Haven Island was restored. Grass grew back. The pines stood tall again. The wind returned. And under the willow tree, the place where Ellen's ashes lay became quiet again. Peaceful. Whole. Carla Menden resigned. The Lakeview Shores HOA was dissolved. The county paid me restitution. And Haven Island, my island, remains exactly as it always should have been. A home. A memory. A promise kept. If you're still watching, comment where you're from. And hit subscribe. Because no bully, no HOA, no forged permit should ever be powerful enough to erase a person's life's work. Not while someone like me is still breathing.